What's up everybody, and welcome to or back to the channel. And in today's video I wanted to discuss the current state of Outriders based on the patch that came out on Saturday and just in general what's going on, as well as that I've never really closed the loop on in terms of a review or whatever you want to call it on the game itself, after having spent a lot of time with it and just, you know, coming to the point of on a basic level whether this game is worth the price of entry and whether it's something that I think you should spend your time and your money on, and whether it was for me. So let's look at this video and this discussion in let's put it into three categories. So firstly, I would say my overall thoughts of the game, something that I spent my money on and whether I think you should spend your money on, and just in general like that. Then secondly, just like I said, the current state of the game and what's going on right now, and then lastly, the third one is just the immediate plans for the future for the game, in terms of what has been indicated by the developer, as well as what you can see from the social media platforms engaged around this title, and then also just, I guess, the general plans for the future for the game in general, I would say. So starting off with my overall thoughts of the game, and this is the part which, I mean, it's good to start here because I also do want to start off with something positive, is that after having spent over 80 hours with this game, I definitely feel that, first of all, I mean, I got my money's worth, that's for sure. That's less than $1 US an hour, which is ridiculous value for money if you think about it in those terms, and I tend to generally think about it like that. I have played, 3 of the 4 characters to max level. I have experienced end game content. I have farmed for gear. I have gotten best in slot in certain cases, or at least what I think is best in slot in certain cases. I've gotten legendaries I was looking for. There are still legendaries that I'm looking for. And so from an engagement perspective, from that side with the game, it works. I've completed the story mode. As I've said, I've done the in-game activities. The story of the game is very hit or miss. You'll either like it or you won't. It's got some strong parts, but then it's also kind of weak in certain areas. But the point is, that's not what this game is about. This is a looter shooter. This game is about the loot. It's about the builds. It's about this, building your character up to this level where you can just, stomp through things and so on. And it's also about co-op. It's also about, playing with your friends. And that's where the problem with this, comes in. And so what I can say is, from my perspective, this game was good value for money for me. I don't regret buying it. I don't regret playing it. I am still playing it. And so I can recommend it on one condition. And that is, if you plan to play this majority-wise on your own, single player, and if you are the kind of person that likes to, you've got a certain amount of content that you can consume, and then you get to a grindy part, and then you have to start off, sort of grind the same content and just basically upgrade your gear. If that's something that interests you, if everything that I've said in that sentence there sounds like a game that you would enjoy, then I can wholeheartedly recommend this, and I think that the cost is well worth it. However, so just let me make this personal a little bit here, and that is that in the case of this game, I was very much like the canary in the coal mine when it came to me trying it out first, if I can put it that way, and then a bunch of my friends who were interested in getting into it, but for different reasons. And the point being that we can take friend A, who has almost no free time, and so generally the game is just another way for us to spend time together as a group, and there's virtually no interest from their side to grind out a lot and anything like that. So it would purely be the co-op experience. I can right now at this moment not recommend the game to that person, to person A, because of the issues and some of the things that we'll discuss, if you allow me, in the state of the game right now. Secondly, anybody that is purely buying this game for a multiplayer experience. So yeah, you'll do the grinding and all of that, and you're really interested into that, but you primarily want to play this game with other people, whether it's one other person or 2 other people, or you have a set team that you want to play with, or you want to play with randoms or whatever, but you want to consume this in a multiplayer perspective. Again, cannot recommend this game to you, and I would even go as far as to say, don't buy it for that right now. And that's it. So to summarize, if you're going to play it single player, if you're looking for something that you can put 40, 50, 60 hours into while you try out 4 different characters with different builds, with different approaches to, engagements, seeing a bunch of different gear, farming a little bit, becoming more powerful, doing a little bit of end game and all of that, go for it. This will not disappoint. If you're looking to play just multiplayer, if this is going to be your multiplayer fix instead of something like Destiny or Division or something like that, stay away, because it's going to be frustrating and it's going to most likely not be what you're looking for. And that then let's let that statement then bring us to the current state of the game, and that is that as it stands right now, we've essentially had 2 patches for the game. Not really though, because the first, as I would call it, patch was more just something that was done server side, and in this they addressed balance in the game, in let's call it what it was, nerfing certain skills and bringing them sort of into line with what the developer felt was more in line with what the other characters, so that there's no one character that stands above the other 4, well, the other 3. And then this past Saturday, a fairly large patch was dropped that was meant to address, let's call it, the connectivity issues that this game has been experiencing. Generally, when you play the game on its own as a single player, really the only problem that you might have is some strange crashes here and there, which I haven't experienced at all in a while. Or you might have the issue that you can't log into the service. But once you can do those 2 things, once those 2 things are not a problem, the game works, and it works well, and you can play, and fun is to be had. However, if you try to play co-op, then you come up against a whole bunch of issues, ranging from your HUD disappearing, which is irritating, I suppose, but surely not something that makes you, shit your pants. But there's rubber banding and just really bad network quality in general between people. So, whoever one of the 2 people will be, one of the 3 people or 2 of the 3 people will be very laggy, and it will be very unresponsive, and one person will enjoy a more, better latency, and that's just due to the peer-to-peer nature of the game. And then going in terms of bugs to like the really bad stuff of disappearing inventory, you're losing everything that's on your character, including your armor, your gear, everything like that, which in some cases can be stuff that you've farmed multiple hours to get, to upgrade, to essentially get best in slot. And this patch from this weekend was supposed to address all of these issues. Was supposed to look at the crossplay issues, was supposed to look at the HUD, was supposed to look at the disappearing interview, and on all of that. And this patch was discussed late last week with the idea of deploying it in this coming week. So it coming out on Saturday was a surprise to everybody. Definitely a welcome surprise, because again, one of the praises that the studio has gotten from me and from many others is their diligence in working as quick and as as fast as possible to solve an issue and to address problems that the community has or that the game has. And this was in line with that way of thinking. But in actual fact, what we ended up with is arguably a worse state in the game right now, where you have just the inventory, people's stuff disappearing, bugs still being present, and actually somehow even being more prevalent now, to the point where I can literally say that if you're thinking of playing multiplayer, don't. I mean, if you're willing to risk your inventory and the gear on your character, plus whatever else might happen to the character and the gear and everything that you farmed on it, then yeah, sure, go for it. But I can wholeheartedly say that you shouldn't try it. This then means that there's 2 issues that I see here right now, and that is that let's first look at the first patch or first thing that happened, which was the nerfs. And I've already made a video about this where I said that I think that this is a big mistake, but there's one more thing that I'd like to add on to that, and that is just to say that it is a very strange thing for me that a studio chose to focus on nerfing content, on reducing damage, on changing gear and everything like that, before they had actually addressed the really game limiting issues that there were at that time. Like, for instance, all these crashes, crossplay not working, and that sort of thing. So the timing of that for me was very strange, and that is definitely a point of concern. Secondly, it seems that what's now happening is whether people can fly studios or whomever, because it's also been mentioned that it's not just them. They have different teams that look at like the sandbox and that look at like the stability and that look at like the network and all of that. So I'm talking about all of them as a whole. I'm not focusing on one team or one individual or one group or anything like that. Is that there's this concern that the game has like bad word of mouth now, that like things are going wrong, and so now there's this rush to just appease everyone. So people are complaining about the bullet abilities doing too much damage, nerf them. People are complaining about stability and crossplay and all of that stuff. Put out a patch as fast as possible without testing it, without making sure that it works, that it doesn't break other stuff, that it actually solves the problem, all of that. They released that patch so quickly that the problem was that they were able to get it certified to be released on PlayStation and PC, but Xbox, Microsoft, they couldn't get yet. So even by releasing this patch, they again made it so that Xbox people couldn't play with anybody else, because of course you had different versions of the game. It wasn't for incredibly long, but that's the point really. So I almost want to say that really what needs to be done here is that people, like, it just needs to slow down a little bit. Like, I understand that people are losing items in the inventory and all of that, and yes, that needs to be addressed. That should have been addressed first before they nerfed abilities, but fine, we're here now. The point is, right now, if the studio and the teams that are responsible for fixing this continue to try and just churn out these patches and churn out these gut check fixes and on the fly fixes, because there's either something that's trending on Twitter, or you have a couple of high level streamers that are complaining about something or so on, then we're gonna have a long period of instability in this game. And the problem with that is you will have your core people that will come back, that will stay with it or will come back to it, but you will lose a lot of people that will just move on to something else, that will just not weather the frustration and the issues that each patch that comes out. And again, I know that we're not working with a big sample size here. I'm literally talking about 2 patches, one server side fix and one actual patch. But the point is, the trend here right now is alarming. And that is gonna, while the studio is trying to shore up goodwill and have people see, hey, look, we are fucking doing something, we are fixing this, we are working on it. What they're actually doing is they're introducing more issues to the game, and possibly having issues where now you have people that didn't have problems before that now suddenly do. So you had people that were on your side that now go, oh fuck, I'm getting affected by the bug as well, and that's an issue. So that's basically the current state of the game right now, as I see it, and that it's probably, I would say, depending on which angle you look at it from, it's probably in the worst state that it's been yet right now, and that's just my opinion. And that then brings us to what I think is the future and where this is going. And again, I'm speaking about it from my perspective as to also what my plans are when it comes to this. But just in general, how I think this is going to play out, or how I hope it plays out, I suppose. So right now, I mean, I was always approaching this game from a perspective of I was going to play it single player up to the point where I felt like I had a really decent build going, and then I would start playing. But it was also a case of me, wanting to get my friends into it and everything like that. But I wasn't going to get them to buy a game or get into a game that, was just going to end up pissing us all off and, just having them go for refunds or anything like that. So at this moment in time, we're now not there yet. So I'm still playing it single player. I have no intention of going into multiplayer until there's a very clear indication that these issues that have been, now heaped on top of the already present issues since this weekend have been dealt with, which we don't really know what the ETA on that is. And again, I want to stress that that's not me saying fucking hurry up and do this as soon as possible. That's me saying do it right. So if it takes a week, it takes a week, but it gets done right. That's the point. So for the immediate future, I'll finish leveling out my 4th character, just doing single player like I've been doing. I'll do my farming and all of that and everything like that. But at the moment right now, I'm not going to touch multiplayer. And that's actually my advice to anybody. You can do whatever you want, of course, it's your shit, but the point is, I think that there's just a general risk that you might lose items and everything like that. And again, whether this is hearsay or not, but you know, you get the items back at their base level. You know, when it is restored, do you get back the gear with the mods that you had put on it? Do you get back the gear how it dropped? Do you get back the gear with you know, having all the materials that you've invested in it on it, at which level, all of that? None of this is clear, so that's why there's just too many variables. I think that's in general the gist of this video, and just you know, where I stand right now with the game. It's sad for me because it is a game that I enjoy playing a lot, and that there's an incredible amount of potential here. And unfortunately, the game, a very core component of the game, which albeit I have not exactly fucking, you know, I didn't buy it for that reason, but a lot of people are, which is the multiplayer, is really, really, really bad right now. And when you look at the actual idea of this game, which I presume is to be consumed co-op, yes, you can play it single player, and I think it's actually a better game in single player, I'm not gonna lie. But a big focus of this game is the multiplayer, and then for that to be so terribly broken right now is surely, you know, cause for concern, and definitely something that should be looked at. That's basically it. That's the whole video. Thank you very much for watching. If you have watched up until now, thanks for the support. And if you enjoy content like this, please consider, you know, subscribing to the channel. There are a lot of people that watch these videos and aren't subscribed. When you do subscribe, it helps me bring more videos like this to the channel, and it just means a lot to me, and I really appreciate it. Have a great morning, have a great afternoon, have a great evening wherever you are, and until next time, fucking cheers.